Okay, and we here for this second part of Know Not God. They don't know Him. And because they forgot God, and because they didn't know Him, and the generation before them, I wonder, how did this generation forget about God? How did this generation not know God? It's because the parents didn't teach them about God. There come a time when the parents didn't think it was important, or something happened where they didn't teach the children about God, but they didn't know Him. But the generation before them knew Him, and they knew about His wondrous work, but they didn't teach the children. And when you don't teach your children these things, then you end up getting children being misled like a loose bullet, like a loose cannon. Like you don't know where it's gonna go. A stray bullet. So we get here. We look back here in the word, and it says, "Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil." Now check it out. Now it say here, God is good. God is good, but if you disobey Him, His hand will be against you to do you evil. This is what it's saying. Wheresoever, verse 15, chapter 2 of Judges, verse 15. It says, "Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil, as the Lord had said, as the Lord had sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed." You get distressed when you forgive God. When you find yourself getting distressed, your home getting distressed, your neighborhood in distress, your whole nation in distress, your government in distress, and then you learn and look at the whole world in distress. You understand? And then you better understand something. You better understand something. God got His eyes on you, and His hand is against you. It says, "Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges." Even because God is good, He was against them to do them. He was against them to distress them for their disobedience. But it says, "Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them." So God delivered them from time to time. And it says, "And yet they would not hearken." See, even though God was mercy, and He lifted the stress up off them, because they were so distressed. Because when God turned against you, man, you're gonna be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble, let me tell you. But when you get in trouble, see, God hears your groaning and crying, and hears your heart crying out in the distress of your heart. He have mercy on you, and then He have mercy on you and lift that up off of you. And it says, "And yet they would not hearken." So they still hard-headed. Even though God was whooping you, you wasn't getting the message. Just like a child, you whoop him, and you whoop him, and you whoop him, and he still go out and do the same thing. He still ain't learned nothing. You whoop him again. He still ain't learned nothing. That's a fool. You understand? It says, "And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a-whoring after other gods, and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so." They wouldn't do it. See, just like us today, our children don't want to hear nothing about God. Get away from me. Majority of our children don't want to hear nothing about the commandments of God, about right and wrong, about wisdom and understanding, and the right knowledge being fixated in their head. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. You can't talk to them, and some of them will bust you upside the head trying to tell them something. You understand? So we got a rebellious generation. We got a generation that don't know God, that don't know about His wondrous works, that don't know the things that He can do, that don't know His mighty hand, and don't know His intervention into the affairs of men, and don't know that He will intervene in the affairs of men. They don't know. They don't know Him. Talking about, "Hey, what's up, G?" When I get up there, I'm going to say, "What's up, G?" You go talk to God like that here. You find yourself in the lake of fire in the blink of an eye. And let's see, and it says, "And said, and bowed themselves unto them, and turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so. And when the Lord raised them up judges, then the Lord was with the judge." He was with the judge. When God would raise them up judges like men of God to deliver them, He would be with the man that He raised up for them. Check it out. And it said he was with the judge and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge, for it repented the Lord because of their groaning. See, they were groaning when God's hand was hot against them. They were groaning inside by the reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. So God was, he felt that, what they were going through. But he kind of wake them up, turn them around. And they ain't waking up. They groaning and hurting and still rebelling. It says, and it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers in following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. They cease not from their own doing, nor from their stubborn way. And this is America today. They rebelling, they done become so high-minded and heady that they don't want to hear nothing about God. They done allow people to come up into the Supreme Court. They done took and made judgments against even mentioning God in government places and in schools and stuff like that. And now we got today the schools, children run through the schools from now and then, every now and then. Children run through the school, rampaging and on shooting sprees, killing up the children. It wasn't so like that when you acknowledged God in the schools and you allowed prayer and you had prayer. I remember I was in school and the principal would come in the cafeteria and we would all have prayer and acknowledge the Lord and thank the Lord for the food we was about to receive. We don't have that anymore. No, you don't want that, see. So you kick God out, okay? You kicked even the mention of him out of the school, and then guess what happened? All that evil, you welcomed all that evil to come in there, with all them demons and spirits getting in people who want to kill up everything, and all these drugs infested schools, and children coming up in there that you can't control. You ain't got nothing but a school full of devils. And that's because of your rejection of God. That's because you done forsook the law. And it says, and when the Lord raised them up judges, then the Lord was with the judge. We read that. Let's go to 19. And it says, and it came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers and followed other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them. And they ceased not from their doing, nor from their stubborn way. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel again. And he said, because that this people had transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened to my voice, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died. So God just stopped, letting them conquer and take over territory and stuff. He stopped. No more of that. And just like when America used to come on the scene, when America would come on the scene, they had respect, prominence in the world. They ain't got that no more. They ain't got that like they used to, and they losing it. And this people coming trying to get them back. You got to change your ways. You got to go back to the old landmark. You got to find out where you come from. What really made you great? You got to go back to that. But until then, you're going to see a decline, and I don't know what America's going to be when they get finished rebelling and completeness against God. I don't know what America's going to be or what it's going to look like in the future, but it ain't going to be looking good if we keep on going in the direction that we're going. So